Hello everybody! It's been about a month and I can tell that I'm ready to make videos again because I spent the whole day thinking I just need to talk about books and getting really excited about actually setting up the camera again, so that's a good thing. It probably helps that the weather is a lot better here. It's not insanely cold anymore, for which I'm very thankful, and I feel much more cheerful and, well, warmer. So it's been a good Friday so far. So yeah, I just want to talk about what I'm currently reading and my plans for next week, and should talk probably about being back from a break and what will change. I was gonna actually return with a video about changes, but instead I'm making this video first, so we'll just address some of those things really quickly. One, my official in my head video making schedule is now going to officially be 2 videos per week, which is pretty much I think what I've done in the past couple of years, except that I've been beating myself up continuously about it not being 3 videos per week like I used to do. So I'm changing that more mentally than anything else. I'm probably going to do fortnightly wrap-ups instead of weekly wrap-ups for a while to see how I feel about that. Because if I'm only doing 2 videos per week, I don't want 50% of my content to be wrap-ups. On the other hand, my reading pace is what dictates the weekly wrap-up schedule, because if I don't do it weekly, then the videos get very long. And I am very leery of making very, very long videos, mostly because they're exhausting for me to film. But also I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of very, very long videos on BookTube, which I know other people don't care because really long videos have been growing in popularity recently, but I just don't personally love making them all the time. But we will see how the fortnightly wrap-up schedule goes. I'm hoping that I will be able to motivate myself to make more standalone book reviews with that schedule as well. That's kind of the personal challenge I want to make to myself, is to pick something each week that I've read and try to do a review of it. If I succeed 50% of the time, I will still make 26 book review videos in a year, which is better than I've done in the past 3 years. So win. We'll see if I actually do it. And I'm also probably going to add a monthly video just about fiber arts. I've been happy enough talking about what I'm knitting and crocheting and stuff in videos like this on Fridays, but it's such a big part of my life now that I kind of want it to be its own thing, so I will probably do a monthly video about that for those of you who also share my obsession with yarn, I guess, and sewing. I'm actually not obsessed with sewing, but I'm going to be doing more of it. So those are pretty much the main changes. Everything else is just sort of my mindset, and we'll see how it goes. So with that out of the way, not how I intended to do this, but there it is. Let's talk about what I'm currently reading. I've really been enjoying my reading over the past 2 months. I don't think I've done any wrap-ups or anything since the middle of December, and I don't plan on going back and wrapping things up. It's just gonna be what it is. But I have been enjoying what I've been reading, including what I'm currently reading, which are the 2 books I want to finish over this weekend. One is The Left-Handed Booksellers of London by Garth. This is one of my favorite titles of a book that's come out recently. I think I've read the first 2 chapters. Yes, the first 2 chapters, and I loved the opening sequences of this book. It's almost like an alternate 1980s setting where, yes, left-handed booksellers are involved in the magical world, and this young woman falls in with one of them. And I have no idea what's gonna happen next, but I was so taken with the beginning of this. I do need to read this pretty quickly because I'm not sure when I'm going to be discussing it with friends, but sometime before the end of February. And then I've also been enjoying The Space Between Worlds by Mikaya Johnson. This is a science fiction novel about traversers, these people who, because their alternate selves are dead in other versions of the world, they can travel there. And one woman who has taken the place of one of her doppelgangers and doesn't want anybody to find out, I guess, and she can go to these other worlds as well. And then, what am I gonna be reading next? Well, I noticed that I had 3 Ursula Le Guin books on my TBR shelf, and I can get them off of my TBR shelf quickly and reclaim that space because 2 of them are story collections that I am not going to read everything in, and the other is a short novel. So let me talk about this. The Found and the Lost is the collected novellas of Ursula K. Le Guin, and I have actually tabbed the ones that I don't think I've read or I didn't recognize the titles of. There are 5 of them. So I'm going to read these novellas and then call this collection done. So I'm not going to be reading all 800 pages of it, just 5 of the novellas. And then same story with this other collection, The Birthday of the World and Other Stories, which I bought I think back in August. The one time I went to a used bookstore in 2020. And this is another one where I've read, I think there are 2, 4, 6, there are 8 stories in this, and I think I've read about half of them, so I'll probably read another 4 or 5 of the stories in this as well. And some of them may be rereads, but if I can't remember the title and remember the story that goes with the title, then I'm going to reread it. And then the last thing is actually a reread. This is The Eye of the Heron. It's a very short novel. It's only about 200 pages long, and whenever I buy a book by Le Guin that I want to reread, I stick it on my TBR shelf. So want to finally reread this and get it off of that shelf and clear up some more space. So it will be my week of Le Guin, and I'll probably read some other things as I've got other library checkouts and stuff, but that will be my focus. I am still trying to get my physical TBR down well under 20 books, and since I have various pre-orders and stuff on their way to me, I need to be a little bit more proactive about reading these books now. All of my weekend plans are finish books and vacuum my basement, which, you know, thoughts and prayers. I haven't properly cleaned out my basement in about 6 or 7 years, mostly because spiders. I only clean my basement in the coldest part of the year when I'm pretty sure all the spiders are dead. Only after I'd already arranged to get the shop vac from my dad, I went down to the basement and I found a large spider crawling down the wall. So even though we've had sub-zero temperatures for like 2 weeks, there are still spiders alive in my house. And no, they are not the spiders that I accidentally hatched in my kitchen. Those were tiny spiders. So yeah. I'm going to have a skin-crawling good time this weekend, but it will be done, and then I'll feel more comfortable in my basement. So, on that note, I'm going to go away now. I'm not 100% sure when my next video will be out. I want to pre-film some things and have a bit of, you know, a buffer behind me before like really getting back into the swing of things, but videos are in the works, and I really appreciate you guys hanging around and waiting for me. That has made me feel quite warm and nice inside. So thank you guys, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.